He's still smiling is Jurgen Klopp after he saw his Liverpool team pick up another 3 points, this time on their travels at Bournemouth. By 3-0. It was as comfortable as it sounds. Craig, it doesn't matter who he picks at the moment, they're getting the job done for him.
Well, they're the best squad in the division, and he's able to rotate. He's got a hell of a lot of games coming up. As we know, it's been well documented. Club World Cup, League Cup, Premier League fixtures, you name it. FA Cup starts in January as well. But barring some major injuries, he's able to chop and change. So you've got Liverpool continuing to fly. There's no sign of that stopping. And then you've got City tripping over themselves, who we thought were going to be the main challengers, and Leicester City keep going. So sitting prim and proper at the top of the league, and barring a disaster, it's looking like it's there. Well, it's definitely theirs to lose, but the dynamic behind them has changed.
It certainly has, with Leicester winning 4-1 at Aston Villa. Taking a look at the table is just grim reading for everyone else in terms of the title race, but Leicester 7 wins in a row now. The gap remains 8 points. Manchester City, as you mentioned now, they've dropped as many points in the first 16 games as they have throughout the entirety of last year. Of course, it was a stunning year last year, but that's really poor from them. Another defeat. I know it was the derby, but it's a very poor defeat.
Well, it was a poor defeat, and the bottom line is they can't defend. And they've only got themselves to blame for not going out and bringing in a centre-half, a proper centre-half, in the summer. Now, they said they weren't only going to go for a certain amount of money for Harry Maguire, and they went to Man United. They said there was a ceiling on what they wanted to pay. That's fair enough. But you've got to do some business. They've been unlucky with the loss of Aymeric Laporte. I grant you that. But they've lost a bit. I think they've lost a bit of pizzazz going forward as well. On top of that, their defending's been horrendous. And it's very, very unlikely from this position that they're going to be able to claw that back. However, I was at Leicester in midweek when they beat Watford, didn't play well, but played really well. Played well in patches in the game against Aston Villa. And if you're a Liverpool fan and you don't think Leicester are a threat to this championship, then you're a mug, right? You're a mug. Because this is, unless they get injuries to key players, they are not going away. Now, they've got Man City, and then this man is going to the King Power on Boxing Day. Now, the whole season could turn on a dime within those couple of games. It could end it, or it could be back under pressure. So Leicester City are the main challengers at the moment, Ross. There's no doubt about it. Absolutely no doubt about it. And Chelsea just behind, fighting for that 4th spot, with maybe Man United now on the rails and 1 or 2 others. Wolves, they weren't ready for the physical battle at Everton.
No.
A battle that they knew they were going to get as soon as Ferguson was named as interim coach.
And you could see the annoyance from Frank Lampard as well, not only throughout the game but after the match as well, when he's blaming poor mistakes individually. And what I liked about him, he was asked about whether this is what you get with young players and inconsistency. He didn't fall back on the lazy stereotype of, yeah, we've got a young squad. He said, look, it doesn't matter who they are. If they make individual mistakes, that's what we got.
Well, and the goalkeeper would make mistakes, and they got out-muscled in the edge of the box and giving the ball away and then not picking up in the box. But just shifting it slightly to Everton a little bit, who are a big club but are not having a great season. And I'm not saying this is right, because players, you might look at it and say, well, where was that energy for Marco Silva? But to see Ferguson, an old teammate of mine, by the way, for Scotland many years ago, but to see the passion that he has, and I know, you know he's got passion for that club's very close to him, but to see that passion from the fans to him, to the team, was so much better than watching, Marco Silva just stood like this, depressed, grumpy, and at least Ferguson got a reaction. So, and Chelsea should have expected that. They weren't ready for it. How long it will last for Everton remains to be seen. But that was just nice, a nice part of the game with people talking about stats and data, informations, and all that stuff that people have to talk about
and
now.
Modern football.
It was a good old-fashioned kick up the backside, passionate performances from Everton. The most challenges, I think, most tackles made in the Premier League for donkeys. That tells you all about it.
I think it was the most connected the fans at Goodison have been to their team in a long, long time. At the bottom of the table, it's given
well, sorry, I can't forget Man United, just briefly.
Yes.
We have to say, because they've had a lot of stick. 2 great wins for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. They played a lot better. They were great on the counter-attack. But please, 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 10 days ago, he had a 27% win percentage in the Premier League. He's not turned from a dud to a master tactician in 7 days. It's been a good week, but let's not say let's trust Ole at the wheel just yet.
Next Sunday they play Everton. Will it be Duncan Ferguson in the hot seat at Old Trafford? We'll see.
Well, bottom of the table.
Bottom of the table. Looking at that, it's particularly grim reading for a number of teams, but for Everton at least, they get a little bit of a breathing spot.
Yep.
They can't take the foot off the pedal, of course. Southampton still plugging away, although Aston Villa, of course, going down to Leicester. West Ham have got Arsenal on Monday.
Yeah.
And what do you make of that?
The sticking point there is Arsenal in the bottom half, and West Ham could go into the same points as them with a win, maybe even jump them on goal difference depending on the result. Watford have brought in a new manager. Norwich are struggling. Southampton played okay at Newcastle but ultimately lost. Villa are getting dragged back into it. That's a concern for the West Midlands club. Bournemouth down there as well under Eddie Howe. That has not been a good last 3 or 4 weeks for them for sure. However, I think it's probably going to be between the bottom 5 at the end of it. I think Bournemouth, Everton, Burnley and certainly Arsenal have enough, and probably Brighton, but I think it'll be the rest that'll be scrapping it out.
All right, good prediction as well. So there's your weekend roundup. Stay tuned as always here on the YouTube channel at ESPN FC for all your Premier League fixes.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app, and for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.